What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Been a few days since I've done this show, so let's get into it. The other day, the New England Patriots were the first team to fill their head coaching vacancy. As expected, they brought in Mike Vrabel, former Tennessee Titans head coach, to be their next head coach. This is a great hire for the Patriots. I think we all saw this coming from a mile away. It's a pretty obvious hire. It's hard to really bash it. He was a very good coach in Tennessee. He was in there for 6 seasons, 54 and 45, 3 playoff berths. The rundown on him, obviously, he played for the Patriots for a long time. He played there for about a decade or so. Was a very good player for them. Was a linebacker, very good. Also had a package to play on offense too. He had 10 career receiving touchdowns on 10 catches. He was very good around the goal line for them, and eventually got into coaching. Obviously, was a defensive coordinator in Houston for a year, and then he got the Titans head coach job. I think his first year on the job was probably, I think 2018. Yeah, 2018 to 2023. He was their head football coach, and he really held that team together. They obviously, his quarterback was Ryan Tannehill for his entire tenure. And they traded AJ Brown, their superstar receiver. The last couple of years of his tenure, basically for Treylon Burks. That's who they took with the pick that they got for him. And obviously, your team is going to regress. In 2019, he took a 9-win team. He carried that team to the AFC Championship. Of course, Derrick Henry also had an incredible year that year as well. And, he kept them, the second to last year there, he kept that team, despite having just a zillion injuries, kept them, in the race the whole year. The last season, kind of kept them, somewhat competent. As last year, the roster was really bad. He's a very good coach. He's a no-nonsense guy. You've seen him in the, in the press conference. There's a viral press conference of him, like, they was in Tennessee, like, after we lost the game. The guy asked him, something like, about losing. He was like, he goes, "It sucks." All right. I guess the reporter's name was Gentry. And the next guy starts asking the question, and then he goes, "Do you have another comment?" And the guy was like, well. And he goes, "It falafel," and I can't say the word on YouTube here. "Sucks, Gentry." It was very funny, and he's guy who's going to demand the most out of his players, who can get the most out of his players, demands a lot of respect. He loves the organization, obviously very familiar with the organization, has a very strong relationship with the Crafts. This is a very good hire for the New England Patriots. I hate saying that as a Jet fan, but this was as good of a hire as you can get. It was the reason he was the top head coaching candidate. I'm shocked no one really called him last year. I'm shocked the Patriots didn't call him last year before going right to Jerome Mayo, honestly. So I asked him to call him. I think they thought, he kept regressing in Tennessee. Then they saw what Titans were about, and like, yeah, he held that team together, didn't he? Oh, yeah, we should probably call this guy. Yeah. So he's in New England. But when one head coaching vacancy closes, another one opens. The Dallas Cowboys have parted ways with Mike McCarthy. His contract actually expires today. That was the whole thing. They're going to bring him back, or we're not going to bring him back. They weren't sure. The Bears have requested to interview him. The Cowboys have denied it. Now he's already interviewing because now he's not under contract with them anymore, so he can do whatever he wants. Jerry Jones announced that they are mutually parting ways. After 5 seasons, McCarthy was 49-35, 3 playoff with 1 playoff win. This just isn't good enough. McCarthy's a very overrated coach. He was in Green Bay for a long time. He had some success there. Had a lot of success in the regular season. He did win a Super Bowl. He also had prime Aaron Rodgers. He came up short way more than he should have in Green Bay. Part of that is on Aaron Rodgers. Part of that is on the roster construction. But a good part of that was also on him. Dallas, this team, this year, they lost a lot of pieces. That's on Jerry. And the roster wasn't great. I don't blame him totally for going 7-10. I think he kind of knew that he was not going to be coming back, so he kind of just didn't care. But the previous 4 years, he had a really good roster. I get, your ceiling's a little limited with Dak Prescott, but the roster overall was really good. And every year they would, at best, sneak into the playoffs and lose in the first round. 1 playoff win in 5 years with this team is just not good enough. He's an overrated coach. Is he the worst coach in the league? No. I would take him over. I would have taken him over Robert Saleh last year with the Jets. I'm sure teams like the Bears and the Saints and teams of really bad coaches like that would take him. But even he's at best a mid-tier head coach. He's He's been doing this for a while. He's been head coach for 17 or 18 years now. He's like a solid, he's got like a 608 win percentage in the regular season, but he's 500 in the playoffs, and that's with a Super Bowl trophy. So, to me, a bit overrated. Dallas moves on. I don't hate them moving on from McCarthy. I do think that's the right move. However, I don't know what Jerry's doing. The guy's going senile. The guy doesn't care anymore. He's at the point where he knows his fans, no matter what, are going to beat their chest. This is our year, this is our year, this is our year. And every year they're going to go 9-8, 10-7, sneak into the playoffs, and lose in the first round. Even if they go 12-5, win the division, they're still going to lose in the first round. And the next year the fans do the same thing. Next year the team just went 7-10. They were horrible this year. And next year, doesn't matter what they do in the offseason, they will do the same exact thing. So, also, they could have fired him last week and had the ability to talk to Ben Johnson, who's, this with Mike Vrabel at the board, to me, the top head coaching candidate available. Talk to Aaron Glenn, the Lions' other coordinator, one of the top head coaching candidates available. But since you waited, the rule is now they have to wait till those guys are done playing. The way the Lions season is going, there's a good chance that team will be in the Super Bowl. That's very likely. So they may have to wait 3 or 4 weeks. And they got to wait at least another week. Obviously, we'll see what happens in their division round playoff game. The end of the show, we're going to go over the NFL playoffs, obviously. But I don't know what Dallas is doing. And Troy Aikman, of course, a Hall of Fame quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and obviously he's now obviously a broadcaster now, ESPN NFL broadcaster, obviously for a while now. Has said he said himself, I don't think the job is going to be that coveted. And I think he's right. What is so special about the job? You have an overrated, overpaid quarterback that you're stuck with for at least a few more years. The roster isn't that good. You have one true weapon on offense, no running game. Your defense, you have really one playmaker to me, Micah Parsons. Diggs and Blaine are good corners, but both not great in coverage. Both have injury concerns, so the roster isn't that great. You don't have a lot of money to, improve it, because you have so much money tied up in Dak Prescott, as well as CeeDee Lamb and others, and now Micah Parsons also needs a contract now. I don't know how they're going to make that work. You have an owner who's a power-hungry, egotistical kind of dickhead, who's difficult to work with, is going senile. He needs to have his hands on everything. The pressure that you have from the fans, and just, not having won anything in 30 years, I don't see how that's that good of a job. Is it better than, a bunch of these jobs? I mean, there's a lot of people are not good. The Jets job sucks. Jacksonville is an awful spot. The Raiders is an awful spot. Maybe it's better than those, but, the Bears job, which I don't think is that attractive either. The roster's pretty good. And you have a decent draft pick. But, you also have a general manager who's been, the guy you're reporting to is kind of skeptical of his football knowledge. You have a young quarterback who's got some talent, but, to this point has looked really bad in a really good situation, and a complete head case. And it's the Bears. They're just, ownership is a joke there. It's all right, is it better than the Bears job? I don't think it is, to be honest. And I'm not very high on the Bears job. The Patriots job was really the only job that really had even somewhat attractive. The roster is horrible, but a very talented young quarterback they get to work with. You have the assets to fix that roster, because you have $130 million in cap space and then the 4th pick in the draft. So I don't know how covered the job is really going to be. Also, that division, you're the 3rd best team in that division, clearly behind Philly and Washington. Philly's going to be very good for a while. Washington's on a really good young team. Looks like they nailed the quarterback with Jane Daniels finally. They should be very good for a while. Are you better than the Giants? Yeah, but so is the rest of the league. So you're the 3rd best team in that division, for a while. So that's not really a great job, if you ask me. But McCarthy is out in Dallas, so we went from having, we thought we were down on openings, so we was going to be 5 more openings, because no longer 6, but now we have 6 openings once again. And just finish off this block here. Deshaun Watson tears his Achilles again. Might not play next year. That is just a disastrous situation. On top of the allegations that he had coming when Cleveland traded for him off the field. At the time was a guy who hadn't played in a year. because, Texans were like, oh, I'm not playing this guy with what's going on. He didn't even want to be there. He had requested a trade before all the off-the-field stuff happened. And you knew he was getting a long suspension, possibly for the entire season, ended up getting 11 games. And you still give up 3 first-round picks for the dude and gave him a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. He was already making a lot of money. He had recently signed like a $156 million deal with the Texans like 2 years prior. And it's been a disaster. Now, his first year there, in the 6 games he played, did not look good. Not this season, but the season, 2023, he looked horrible out of the gate. Ended up getting shut down with shoulder surgery. This year was absolutely horrible. And then he ends up tearing his Achilles. Now he tears it again. I don't know how he did it again. The guy's turned into the John Wall of the NFL when it comes to on the field with that. And just, his career might be over. I don't know how he comes back from this. He's had a bunch of injuries. He torn ACL, I think his rookie year in Houston, or very early on in his career in Houston. He had last year he had a couple injuries, including shoulder surgery in like week 6. This year tears his Achilles, and now he tears his again. I don't see how this guy, and just the way he's played the last couple of years. And it's not like the guy's 30. It's not like it's like like an Aaron Rodgers situation. All right, the guy's 40 years old. He's 41, coming off a torn Achilles. All right, I kind of get it. He's not that old. Like, he was, like, the whole thing when he was in Houston, people used to mock the Bears. Not only did you take Trubisky over Mahomes, but also Deshaun Watson. He was in the same draft club as Patrick Mahomes. He's what, 29? Maybe he's 30? Like, he's not ancient. Like, the guy's 29, 30 years old. Like, it's not like he's 38 years old and, he's on his he's just aging. He's not that old. The fall from grace from that guy is just insane. However, can't say I feel super bad for the guy. I'm not saying I'm wishing that I'm not wishing he got hurt, but just the overall fall from grace. It's not like this guy is a saint by any means off the field. And just to wrap up here to baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays signed Jeff Hoffman, veteran reliever, 3 years, $33 million. Hoffman had a very good year last year for the Phillies. Was an all-star reliever, 2.17 ERA in 68 games, 89 strikeouts in 6 and third, a whip under 1. Came up a starter in Colorado years ago, was very, very bad. In Cincinnati, didn't work out either, but has been really good since becoming a full-time reliever for the Phillies the last 2 years. In 2023, also pitched well in 54 games, had a 2.41 ERA, so he's been one of the best relievers in all of baseball the last 2 years. Even had 10 saves this year for the Philadelphia Phillies. However, he's got some arm concerns, so it came out that he had originally agreed to a 3-year, $40 million deal with the Orioles prior to signing with the Blue Jays, but he failed the physical, so something with his arm, the Orioles flagged, so the deal fell through. And apparently the Braves were going to sign him as well, but he failed the physical with them as well, so something to keep an eye on. He's going to be 32 years old this season. So he hasn't had a ton of injury problems in a while. He had early in his career. But the last 2 years, he's been mostly healthy. But there's something to watch going forward. I mean, overall, I think it's a good sign. At least Toronto did something. That's a good chance. He might be their closer. He did a little bit of closing last year for Toronto. It's probably their best option. Yelly Rodriguez probably has the arsenal to close, but hasn't really done it a ton yet. Plus, they may need him in the rotation because their offense refuses to sign big time free agents, or either that or they're trying if no one wants to go there. But Hoffman is a Toronto Blue Jay. All right, let's take a look at the NBA standings. Thus far, we are just past the halfway point of the season, a little bit past that. Eastern Conference Cleveland Cavaliers continue to roll. They have really flown on the radar. They are 33-5. Okay, 33 wins and 5 losses. They started off like 14-0. You would think, since then they've been like a mediocre team and they're now like 5th in the East. No, since then they've been just as good. They're 33-5. They're playing incredible basketball. Kenny Atkinson is definitely the coach of the year if you ask me right now. Boston Celtics 28-11 in second place, still playing good basketball. Knicks in third, 26-15. They had one 9 in a row, a little bit up and down since then. Have been a little bit of a slump since they've been up and down lately. Currently, Towns has been great. Brunson's been not quite as amazing as was last year, but still has been great. 2 games ago, he had 44 points and didn't even play 30 minutes. But, their team defense has regressed a bit. That was probably going to happen. I mean, you go from Isaiah Hartenstein to Karl Anthony Towns, you're going to get better offensively and get worse defensively. That was simply going to happen. But that's something they're going to probably have to clean up. And fourth is the Magic. They are at 23 and 18. They've held together pretty well. Paul Bunker, they just got back. He hadn't played a couple months. He had that oblique tear, I think. Still without Franz Wagner. So you've had a lot of injuries this year, but they've held together. Still fourth in the Eastern Conference. The East isn't that great. I mean, you're 5 games over 500, and you're in fourth place in the conference. Indiana's in fifth. They are rolling. They've won 6 in a row. They're coming out of their shell a bit. Tyrese Halliburton is playing a lot better. They're in another type of injuries. You lose Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman right out of the gate, so you already have no backup big behind Miles Turner. So but both of them tore Achilles right out of the gate. It was a tough break for them. Milwaukee Bucks are in 6th, 20 and 17. They've come a long way since that really bad start, but still, they play zero defense and just have no depth on their bench. Chris Middleton is you just got him back not too long ago. He's still I'm not even sure he's playing back-to-backs yet, which I don't understand these players who can't play back-to-backs in the NBA. It's just honestly it's sad. To the play-in, you have the Miami Heat. So that first play-in team right now, obviously they're in a tough situation with the whole Jimmy Butler team. It seems like there's a new rumor that comes out there every day with that. Now apparently they're hesitant to trade him. I think they're not getting promised. The Suns are the only team that's willing to give him an extension, and the Suns want to trade Bradley Beal for Butler, but the Heat don't want Bradley Beal. I mean, I can't blame them. He's extremely overrated. So they're kind of stuck, and they really haven't gotten many good offers. And I mean, he's a great player, Butler. He's one of I will say a top at least 25 player in the league. He's a very good player. He's also 35 years old. So, he wants a huge extension. He's like, you're 35. And also he's going to be a free agent. So a team's he's probably a rental. Once he goes to Phoenix, he's going to be a rental. So a team's like, I'm not going to give you at least one future All-Stars, not in his prime yet, and multiple first-round draft picks for a guy I'm going to have for a couple of months. And he's going to leave the free agent, so they're kind of in a tough spot. They basically need to trade him away and cut their losses, which would basically end their season. I mean, without him, that team has no identity. And right now they're very they're 2 games over 500. They're the first playing team right now. The East is so bad they might stay in the play-in. If Philadelphia gets healthy, maybe they sneak in over them. But they're still about Brooklyn, Toronto, all those really bad teams at the back end of the Eastern Conference. But they're going to probably be a play-in exit. If anything, they're going to get just shellacked in the first round by most likely Cleveland or the Boston Celtics. A little biased, but I think the Knicks, even with Butler, would beat them in a playoff series, and without Butler, that wouldn't be much of a contest, if you ask me. But you might have to cut your losses and probably waste the season. I mean, it's still a team that we've seen them flip a switch in the playoffs. You never know if they keep him and he plays. You never know. I guess it's unlikely they make it out of the first round, but I guess you never know. But so they're in a tough spot. Pistons 8th in the Eastern Conference. They've been playing really well. 2 games over 500. To put it in perspective, they had what? They won 14 games all of last year. It's January 14th. They have 21. So starting to turn the corner. I think the coaching changes help. I think Jay Bickerson's done a good job there. Kate Cunningham has been playing some really good basketball. And they don't even have Jaden Ivey right now, so kudos to them. The Hawks were in 9th. They've been a little better than I thought. I thought they would fall off completely after trading Dejounte Murray. They've held together. They're at 500 right now. Bulls are in 10th, 18-21. That just shows you how bad the Eastern Conference is. Philly is so much too good to have to play in. That's just an utter disaster. Van Embiid in that lineup, Paul George in that lineup. Now, Jeremy McCain, who was going to run over Rookie of the Year out for the season. It's just Tyrese Maxey and not a whole lot else over there. You got the Brooklyn Nets. They just suck. I mean, they're playing pretty well. got to a pretty good start, but then you trade Dennis Schroeder for an injured Anthony Melton and 3 second-round picks. Doing that was a good move to trade Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton for D'Lo. But yeah, that team is just outside of D'Angelo Russell and Cam Thomas, and Cam Johnson, they really don't have anyone that can score on that team. Now they might trade Cam Johnson now. I don't know what they're doing. And the rest of that bracket obviously is just hideous. The Raptors are really bad. You didn't have that man quickly for a while. You didn't have Scotty Barnes for a while. Young team. They're just had a rough go of it. And, the Washington Wizards are just a level of bad that shouldn't be possible in the NBA. And, the back half of the bracket is just really, it's just terrible. Obviously, the Hornets, 8-20, aren't much better. That's not Brandon Miller and LaMelo when he plays every other game at this point. There's nothing there. In the West, Oklahoma City Thunder, 32-6. They are rolling. They're my pick to win it all at the top of this thing when the season started. And they've been playing great basketball. Shai Alexander is an incredible player. I think he's flies under the radar. I thought he should have been MVP last year, though I do love Nikola Jokic, obviously, as much as the next guy. But you argue he's top 5 in the league, honestly, Shai. He's an incredible player. That's a really deep team. Do a lot of things well. Isaiah Hart's has been a phenomenal pickup for them down low. Especially in the absence of Chet Holmgren throughout the season. So that's been a big pickup for them. You have the Rockets at 26-12 playing really good basketball. A lot of young pieces in my team really coming together. Ime Udoka and the Rockets second in the West. Memphis is in third. They've been playing really, really well. John Morant's been healthy. He's been playing some great basketball. And Nuggets in fourth, 23-15. Jokic has been incredible as always. The rest of the team really hasn't picked up. Losing KCP definitely hurt. Porter has been great this year. Murray's been kind of up and down. So they're in fourth. Dallas is in fifth, 22-17. Of course, you're without Luka Doncic right now, so they're trying to hold things together. Clippers are 21-17. They've actually held together better than I thought. Obviously, Paul George's in Philly. They haven't had Kawhi pretty much all season. So we'll see how that goes. But they're holding together right now. I think they just got him back. He was about to come back, then when the wildfires happened in California, he took a leave to be with his family. I think he just came back, though. And then you have Lakers in seventh. I'm tired of talking about them. LeBron's LeBron. He's going to do his BS. And Anthony Davis is great. The rest of that roster, though, is eek. Don't connect is a very talented rookie. He might win Rookie of the Year now that John McCain's out for the year. But, Hachimura is nothing special. Olsen Reeves is a fine player, but nothing really overly special. And it's hard, JJ Rodriguez isn't ready to coach a team like this, so I just don't see it working out very well for the Lakers. So at best, they're going to be a first-round exit, if you ask me. Timberwolves are in eighth, 21-18. Again, that Towns trade was just very poor decision. George Reynolds played well, but he's just a wonky fit. DiVincenzo played a little bit better, but their team is overall worse than it was last year. Kings are ninth at 2019. They've actually turned it around since firing Mike Brown, which is odd. They've won 7 in a row, so they're starting to put things together. Suns are in 10th at 500. They just bench Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic, who both are at the end of their careers, if you ask me, and aren't that great. But I do not know who else is starting because that roster was very bad. It's Grayson Allen maybe taking Beal's plays. I don't even know if they have another center on their roster. And I don't even count Yusuf Nurkic anymore because he's just god-awful. Spurs, same record as the Suns. Another talented young team. Obviously, Wembanyama's been great. Warriors continue to stumble now, 19-20. They really need to make a move if they want to remain a contender at any point for the rest of Stephen Curry's career. They're going to have to bring in somebody else next to him. Problem is, it may be hard to do that without, giving up all these guys, Podziemski and Andrew Wiggins and Kuminga and their draft picks. And, Steph and Draymond Green did say, that they talked with the team and they both agree to not gut the team's future for, to improve a team now. Then the rest of the West is very bad. The Trailblazers 13-25 as expected. Jazz 10-28, pretty much as expected. And the Pelicans 8-32. Wow, that's embarrassing how bad they are. They need to blow my team up. And Zion might be time to call him a bust. B-U-S-T, bust. All right, let's talk the NHL standings. Eastern Conference, Capitals remain first in the East with 61 points. They continue to roll. Alex Ovechkin continues to inch closer to Wayne Gretzky. All-time goals record in NHL history. Maple Leafs 56 points. We're in second. Devils also at 56. Toronto's got a game in hand. Carolina's in fourth with 55. Florida is in fifth with 53. Timpson 6 of 49. Boston 7 of 47. Columbus has been playing some good hockey. They're actually the last team they went on in the Eastern Conference at 46. Ottawa's a point out. Detroit's 2 points out. Montreal's only 2 points out. They've been playing really well. Penguins are 2 points out. Flyers are 3 points out. The Rangers are 4 points out. They're playing a little better lately, but still not great. Well, Ottawa's are 5 points out, and Sabres are in dead last. And Eastern Conference is really tight. The worst team in the East is the Buffalo Sabres. They're 9 points out of a playoff spot, which is still not good, but worst team in the conference is usually a lot further out than that. In the West, you have Vegas and Winnipeg both have 61 points. Vegas has a game in hand. Minnesota is in third with 58. Edmonton's in fourth with 57. Dallas is in 55. In sixth is the Kings at 56. Avalanche also at 56 with it, but Kings have 3 games in hand. Last team in right now is the Calgary Flames of 49. Vancouver is a point out. The Blues at 6 points out, and then you have Anaheim, who been playing a little better. They're 8 points out of a spot, which isn't horrendous. And then the Kraken are 10 points out, and they have been great. And Nashville's been really bad, and obviously the Sharks and Blackhawks have been as advertised, very bad at hockey. So a couple of NFL stuff. Raiders fired GM Tom Telesco after a year. I mean, giving a GM a year like that is just simply not fair. That being said, Telesco's not a good GM. He was terrible at the Chargers. I don't know why he'd be any better with the Raiders. And I mean, they're starting fresh. Obviously, Tom Brady is now part owner. He's gonna be picking the coach and we're helping pick the coach. I'm sure he'll help pick the next quarterback in this draft, assuming that's the way they go. And I'm sure he'll have a lot of input on the GM search as well. So he's definitely gonna be hands on with the Las Vegas Raiders. But I don't think he's gonna be broadcasting after this year. I think Brady, he loves football. He loves the game. Loves to compete, but I can't imagine broadcasting gives him the same satisfaction. And also, he can't. There are certain things he can't, as a broadcaster, you need to do that you can't do because he's part owner. Like, he can't criticize the officiating technically. He technically shouldn't be able to do. If you go into the deep rules of the NFL, he can't do what he's doing. He's not technically not able to be a broadcaster because he's Tom Brady. The NFL kind of lets it slide. So. But Telesco's out in Vegas. Who the next year will be? Who knows? It's such a bad organization. The Falcons fired defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake after a year. I mean, their defense was very bad this year. They were not nearly what they should have been. So I guess by those measures, he deserves to be fired. A change is needed, but Raheem Morris, he's a defensive guy. That guy is such a bad head coach. I don't know how that guy still has a job. I don't know how he got the job in the first place. Well, that's kind of a mess. And then 2 college football quarterbacks. One, Carson Beck, not going to go to the NFL like he originally planned. He transferred to Miami. A bit of a surprise. Beck, 2 seasons ago, played really well for Georgia. He's been in Georgia for 5 years. Finally got a chance to start. He completed 72% of his passes for over 3,900 yards. He led, which was best in the country. 24 touchdowns, I think, and 6 picks. This past year, though, regressed. Only completed 64% of his passes for just over 3,400 yards. 28 touchdowns against 12 interceptions, which was the most in the SEC. And obviously got hurt at the end of the season and, did not play in their last game against Notre Dame, which they lost in the college football quarterfinals. But he transfers to Miami. Of course, Cam Moore's going to the NFL, so they need a new quarterback. I don't think Carson Beck is very good. I don't think that's going to help Miami a whole lot, to be honest. But Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord declares for the draft. McCord in 2023 with Ohio State was just okay. Completed 65% of his passes for just over 3,100 yards, 24 touchdowns, got 6 picks. A lot of Ohio State fans were kind of ran him out of town. Were kind of happy when he left, basically. But played a lot better with Syracuse. Numbers jumped. 66% of his passes for 4,770 yards, almost 4,800 passing, which was the most in the ACC. 34 touchdowns against 12 interceptions. So he did lead the ACC in picks, but also led the country in passing yards. Had 34 tutties, and also had the most yards per game. At least in the conference with 367 yards per game. And McCord had a lot better year than I thought. He finished really, really well. Syracuse had a very good year. Fran Brownson did a great job. I think they finally found their head coach of the future for a very long time. But I still not sold on Kyle McCord. I think someone should take a fly round, second, third, fourth round for sure. I'm not sure he's a starter in this league. I think he's like a Jameis Winston kind of guy. He's got a big arm, but decision making is a little questionable. So he could be like a Jameis Winston kind of guy. But someone should take a fly round because he, nothing else, has a very, very strong arm. And with that, we're going to go into the college football playoff semis. Number 7 Notre Dame beats number 6 Penn State 27-24. Really, really good game in that one. Notre Dame pulls it out. Notre Dame a national champion. Who would have thought? Wow, they've had a great year. They've gotten better as the year has gone on. That defense is really, really good. Kudos to Marcus Freeman. He's done a phenomenal job. How he's got a head coach interview now with the Chicago Bears. He's been great. And Penn State, I'm sorry to keep bringing up with James Franklin, but he is 4-20 against top 10 teams. This is Penn State. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, just not. Ohio State beats Texas 28-14. Will Howard for 289 and a touchdown. Texas completely blew that game. Giving up the return touchdown at the end of the first half, and then you're down by a touchdown late in the game. Quinn Ewers on 4th and goal. Gets strip sacked, actually by his former college roommate when he was at Ohio State, Jack Sawyer, who's definitely gonna be a first round pick. Wow, that guy's a great player. It's one thing you can't do. It's one thing if you get sacked, hold on to the ball. You still have a little over 2 minutes to go. You had 2 timeouts. You could have gotten the stop and maybe had a chance to go down and score last second touchdown send to overtime. And once you get strip sacked, at that point the game was over. Quinn looked really bad in that game. His draft status took a big hit. Which means national championship will be on Monday. Ohio State against Notre Dame. The national championship, which will be in Atlanta, Georgia at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. All right, wild card weekend just happened. Of course, the last game was last night. Let's recap. Texans, a bit of an upset over the Chargers when they were widely expected to kind of be a fraud and not win this game. But they win 32-12. Justin Herbert really struggled with 4 interceptions in that game. C.J. Stroud threw a rough first half, played really well in the second half. A bit of a surprise. Chargers might just be cursed in the playoffs. They do this every year in the first round. They could go be a sleeper team, and every year they get shellacked. From blowing a 27-0 lead 2 years ago against the Jaguars, also with Brandon Staley. A bunch of years ago against the Patriots, we thought they had a shot to win that game, maybe an upset, and they got shellacked in that game. Losing 41-28 with around 38-14 at one point in the third quarter. But the Texans just laid the smackdown on them, 32-12. And the other side of the game, Ravens over the Steelers, 28-14. I don't know what to say about the Steelers anymore. I might do a full-on episode about that. That might be actually coming tomorrow, so stay tuned. But Ravens win 28-14. I think that was pretty much expected. Sunday, Bills over the Broncos, 31-7. First drive of the game, with a dime. I think it was to Marvin Mims. Went up 7-0, and from there, the Bills just took over. The 31 and answer, they take care of business. Eagles over the Packers, 22-10. Jordan Love really struggled in this game. He's overrated. I'm sorry, Jordan Love. He didn't really have a great year, to be honest. And he may have been playing through an injury, but I don't really care. And they had a bunch of injuries in this game. A lot of guys got hurt. Jaden Reed and Romeo Dubes got hurt in this game, and Christian Watson was already out. The torn ACL. You had a couple of guys on defense get hurt. Quite Walker got hurt. It was just guys just dropping like flies. And Hurts didn't play well either, but they got past the Packers. They pick up the win. And then what was definitely the best game of the wild card weekend. Commanders over the Bucks, 23-20. They went on a game-winning field goal. They kicker doinked it in. Zane Gonzalez doinked it in. Commanders had a lot of crazy finishes. You had this one. You had the Hail Mary against the Bears. You've had a bunch of games like that. Jaden Daniels, that guy in the clutch is incredible. He may have had the greatest rookie year ever by a quarterback. Definitely will be off with the rookie of the year. Tampa. But can we stop pretending like Todd is not an utter disaster as a head coach? He did the same thing in New York with the Jets. He did the same damn thing. His clock management is pitiful. I don't understand how these coaches can't manage the clock. How are you a head football coach in the NFL and managing the clock is this hard? You get 3 timeouts per half. You know how many minutes are in each half. You could see the clock obviously on the field. I don't get it. It is beyond obscene to me. And the guys, he has no game strategy, no game sense, no accountability, can't manage the clock to save his life. No energy in the presser. Like, they asked him in the press conference, like, after the game, and he'd be like, what was the reason you wanted to stop Jay Daniels? Like, oh, he kept running left, and then running right, and then running left. It's like, what are you saying? The guy isn't just a buffoon of a head coach. I've taken him as a defensive coordinator. He's a good defensive coordinator, but good lord, that guy's a head coach. Congrats on winning the NFC South, the worst division ever for the last couple of years. Good for you. You got one playoff win against the fraudulent Eagles team that just gave up last year to show for it. Congrats, Todd Bowles. What a joke. Bucs finish with 10-7. Commanders move on. And the Rams over the Vikings, 27-9. Rams had a tied a playoff record with 9 sacks. 9. What a performance for the Rams. Stafford made the throws when he needed to. The Vikings, they had a very hard decision to make at quarterback. With Sam Darnold, had a really good year, but in the 2 biggest games of the year, completely crapped the bed. Last week against the Lions, and in the winner gets the 1 seed, loser has to be a 14-win wild card. He was horrible. And in this wild card game against the Rams, he was horrible. I get the line did not do a good enough job. They gave up 9 sacks, but not all of them were on the line. A couple were on Sam. He also had a couple of turnovers. He missed a bunch of throws. Against Detroit, he looked utterly awful. And talking, he played amazing defenses out there. Like, I love the Lions as much as the next guy. They're the best team in the league, but that defense has they're a practice squad guy starting. Their defense is depleted by injuries. And I love Aaron Glenn. He should be head coach for a reason, but and the Rams defense has been playing a lot better as the season has gone on, but they're not, this overpowering, insanely good defense. They're not, the best defense in football or even in top 10 probably for that matter. So I don't really get how Cinder just completely fell off. He lost a lot of money. He was probably pretty much guaranteed to get north of $40 million a year. And now he probably will get more than 30. He probably lost a solid $10 to $50 million per year on his next deal. So what will the Vikings do? Do they bring back Sam? Do they keep J.J. McCarthy? Do they trade J.J. McCarthy? Do you tag and trade Darnold? What do you do? Do you keep them both and just see what happens? Very tough decision incoming for the Minnesota Vikings. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.